Hello and welcome to my Ever Messy Art Studio. My name is Keeks, and today I thought maybe we could put together one of these kits. So this is a little kit that I got at a local art store, and as you can see it's just completely made out of wood, and I just painted it and glued it together. So I thought maybe that would be a fun project for us to do together. I do have a few of these kits. Let me grab some. So I've got this little bun for Easter. Oh, let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. So it's a cat dressed like a bunny, and it's got like carrots and stuff. So that could be an option. Another option is this adorable cow. So it's a cow watering her garden and a bird on the fence. And then the other one I have is really more Halloween, but I love it. It's like a witch toad. I think it's adorable. So why don't we actually start with like a warm-up one and do this one, because I think it's really cute. And then we can go from there. So, well actually let's start with the easiest one first. Let's start with this really small one, so that way you can kind of get an idea of it, and then I'll make the cow one. And I'm pretty sure you can get these at any art store. They're just little kits. They're usually around $5 or $10 depending on the size. And they're just cute little wooden guys. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, that's cute. And here's the stand to it. So what I like to do is I like to try and look at it by the layers. So this one's got 3 layers. This paw's the top layer. And then we've also got the bottom, which I do like to paint the bottom because I feel like it completes the piece better. So however I decide to do this, I will probably also add that color here. And then let's see, we've got a paw here. I'm just gonna set these pieces to the side so I can kind of see how they go. Ooh. There we go. Oh, forgot the ears. So it goes kind of like that. But yeah. Oh, there's parts of the bunny ears too. I didn't see that. I thought that was all together. Okay. Okay, I see you. All right. So we've got this adorable little cat. And what I was thinking is it would be really easy just to use Artex markers and color in the spaces. So let me get my Artex markers out. Whoop. Yes. They're all nice and happy to see you. Here, let me move this over a little bit so we can see all of our colors. We have quite a few. So do I want the cat's ears to be darker or lighter than the bunny one? I'm gonna say I would probably want them to be lighter because they shouldn't be a focal point. So I'm gonna use one of my lighter pinks and just color it in. And just like I thought, it's taking to the wood really well. There we go. Now I see that this fella doesn't have any eyes, so we definitely want to add some white there. Almost has like Precious Moment type eyes. Did your grandparents ever used to collect those when you were a kid? Or maybe you have some. Maybe you collect them yourself because they are pretty cool. I think I'm also going to use that same pink I used for the ears for the nose. So I think that would be cute. Here we go. And now we're gonna do some grays. So I think I'm gonna do 2 types of gray. I think I'm gonna use my 70 and my 76 of my Artex markers. And I think what I'm gonna do is first color in the cat with this, and then go and make some stripy stripes on it with this. So I think that should look pretty cute. So we're gonna try it out. I don't need to worry about going over the lines or anything because that's on a different layer. So it's gonna have something over it, so it's not gonna bother much. Like that. Go. And luckily these grooves in here are deep enough to where I'm not having to worry about the paint getting stuck in between and causing like the lines to disappear or anything like that. That's not happening with this. So it's just going on nice and smooth. There we go, and then this body part will show. So anywhere that I think is going to show, I'm going to paint. These lines in between here are probably going to show. Just like that. Okay, and now we got to worry about the basket. Oh wait, I was gonna put some stripes on this kitty, so let's do that, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. Go. Something like that. It's just gonna give this cat a little bit more life. I'm gonna go ahead and black out the eyes too. There we go, there's our kitty. So now our kitty is alive and is not a zombie anymore. And then we want this wicker basket. So I'm thinking I'm gonna want a really light brown like this, and then maybe a slightly darker brown to go back over the edges of where these lines are and do some line making. I think that'll look really good. And the only part that we're really going to be able to see is the bottom part of the basket. We don't have to worry about this top part because it's going to be covered by that. It's funny because since this is already a wood color, it just looks like it's staining it. Which I mean it is, it's paint, but it's kind of funny how it looks. I honestly liked how it was before I painted it anyway, but I figured this would be a better way to pizzazz it up. So it has a bit more personal touch to it. Okay, so we've got the basket part the right color. Now I'm just gonna go through and add some lines. And you probably won't be able to see this a terrible lot, but up close it'll look nice. I might even use a darker brown after I do this part. See, it's starting to give it a more 3D look. I am definitely going to use another brown here in a minute, because I want there to be a lot of distinction. I want it to be somewhat dramatic. And I think I'll go ahead and do this darker brown color. So it's in kind of a medium brown. So I don't like leaving them blank. I think that's distracting. So I'm just gonna tone her down a bit. All right, that looks good. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take an even darker brown. Let's go with this one. And I'm just gonna do the same thing, just to give it a little bit more contrast. I just think it looks better. And if you mess up, just give yourself some grace. Maybe do it in a couple more areas so it looks like it's more on purpose. It's all good. Go. So that looks pretty good. And then that pretty much sums up that layer. So I think the next one that I want to do is actually going to be this other part of the basket right here. That's going to go here, because I want it to match this so that it looks like it's supposed to be that way. Gonna color it that same color. Just like that. So that way when I put it on there, it'll look like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue that. I've just been using normal Elmer's glue. I'm a big fan of it, been using it since elementary school, and it seems to work just fine. You know, if you want a stronger glue, you could probably use a super glue too. But what I do is I just draw like a little loop on, or you know, just a little string of it, and then I rub it in like that. And then I put it on. I try to line it up as best as I can. Sometimes it kind of helps to pick it up too. That way you make sure that you're getting in your lines, and I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna leave it like that. And then next comes the carrots. Okay, I'm gonna put this paw over here because I know that I'm gonna do it last, and I'm gonna take all my carrots over here. So we've got 3 carrots, and this paw won't be seeable. So we just need to worry about the carrots. So I'm gonna take this orange, and that's a really bright orange, so I should be able to go over top of that no problem, with another one to add some details in with another color. There we go. There we go. There we go. So those are pretty orange now, and I'm gonna take kind of between a red and an orange. It says it's number 26 in Artex, and I'm just gonna go over these lines with it to give it a little bit of detail. So I'm just going over the lines that they have. That's it. And it's just gonna give it a little bit of extra detail, not by much. And I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, I think, because I feel like this is really far away. Okay. Hopefully that's not too bad. There we go. So now I've got my carrots, so I'm gonna need to do the same thing and just glue them in. Let me put my pens back first. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this guy first. So I'm just gonna put some glue on him. Rub it in with my fingy. Or paper towel works fine too. I've done it that way before. Then I'm gonna stick her down and try to line it up the best I can. So I'm gonna pick it up and examine it. That looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna put it down. And then I'm gonna get my next carrot, which is this guy. I'm gonna need to refill this up soon. I've got like a giant gallon of glue in my closet, and anytime my glue washes up or dries up, I just pour more in it, because why not? Oh. So I don't think that's quite the right spot, so I'm gonna move it a little bit. There we go. That's better. Okay. And we've got this carrot. Pick it up and examine that it's in the right spot. Looks pretty good. And now we move on to these little guys here. So kind of like with what I did there, I'm going to use two different greens again. I think I'm going to use kind of like a childish green, like a green, and then I'm also going to use like an olivey color in the middle because each of these have 3 stripes on them. So I'm going to do the middles in this color. And then I'll do the outside ones in this color. I love Artex markers, they dry so fast. Because otherwise I'd be getting paint all over me, I bet. There we go. Now it looks like these two are the small ones and this one over here is the big one. Because there's a little bit of a size difference. So now I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the big one. Set it down, tilt it up so you can tell if you've got it in the right spot. I think we're pretty darn close. So we'll leave it like that. Get our next one ready. Down. That one's not quite right, so we'll move it. That's better. Oh, got some glue on the front of it. There we go. Okay. And then we've got this one. Okay, lift it up. Looks pretty good. Okay, and now I'm thinking, looking at this more, the fluffies that are next to the ears, I think need to be the darker color. So I'm just gonna very carefully fix that real quick because I think I'm gonna have the paw be that color too. There we go. That looks cute. Right, so now we've got bunny ears to contend with. So those I definitely want to be white and I want these to be a darker pink. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my white out. And I'm just gonna paint it in. I always feel like I hold my breath when I do stuff like this. I don't know why. Then I go, because I don't want to shake it too much. Anybody else hold their breath while they're either drawing or painting? Pretty funny. Anyway, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video so far. I know it's a bit different than what I usually do because usually I'm working in a sketchbook, but I just wanted to do something different, and I've been wanting to make something like, you know, a little knick-knack or something lately, so this has been pretty fun. Let's see. Plus, maybe you've always looked at those silly wooden kits too and thought, I could do that, but I don't know. And then you saw me do it, and maybe you're like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's what I would want, because I think it's really fun when you're hopefully inspiring somebody else to do something cool. Okay, I'm gonna pick it up a little bit. And that looks pretty darn good. So we're gonna leave it like that. And then, like I said, I wanna do pink, like a darker pink though, darker than the cat's like real ears. So let me grab this pink, because I think this is a very Eastery color. Yeah, super pink. Just like that. And like that. And then I can just pop those in. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on it. And these should just fit right in between. Oh, maybe it's because it goes over here. I was trying to put it in the wrong one. Got so worried about making sure I was painting it on the right side that I wasn't paying attention to what side I was trying to shove it in. There we go. So we've got those in there now. And those we don't have to push up to check them because we already know what they look like. Now, this is what I was thinking should be a dark paw. But now that I see the white of the bunny rabbit, what if we make the kitty's paw white too? Because sometimes you have gray cats that have like white paws. I don't see a problem with that. So let's do it. It'll be cute. Piece is so small that every time I accidentally touch it just a little bit with my finger, I smear it. So once again, glad that these are fast drying markers because that would drive me nuts. All right. Ooh, I got it in the right spot. Yay! So we finished the first one. So what I like to do is I like to make sure that these aren't going to come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue on both sides. Just a little line of it. And I'm not going to worry about smearing it in because I'm just going to push it through like that. And you might have a bit of a glue line, and that's okay. You can always take a Q-tip or something to it. But yeah, that's my finished kitty. Pretty cute. So give me a moment and I will grab the next one.
The next one was a bit more complex. It had 4 levels to it instead of 3. So I did kind of have to really make sure that I was sorting these, keeping them where they wanted to be. The other thing is it didn't really show where the fence was supposed to be, so I just kind of eyeballed it and put it where I thought it looked good and just kind of went from there. This one also kind of was really similar to the bull one in the way that the shapes were because it's a cow. So I had a lot of fun putting that together. And I definitely think that this one was super cute. I had to really think about the colors though because I knew I wanted the cow to be black and white because it made sense because of the spots and everything. But I did not know what to do with the fence because originally I was going to make the fence white because, you know, white picket fence. And then I was like, no, that's not going to look good. So I'm just going to leave it the color of the wood. And I think that actually worked out pretty well for this one. That way there wouldn't be too much white and the cow wouldn't get lost in that. And it just caused it to look a little bit more natural, I think. If I would have made the white fence, it just would have been way too much white. And then after I did that, I had to kind of worry about the spots. So it's really interesting. After putting this together, the spot on the leg I realized was actually supposed to be black before I glued down that piece, but I didn't really find that out until after I did the hat because I thought that all the spots were the same level as the regular cow was, and that turned out to be wrong. So I did end up having to go back with an Artex marker for that spot on the leg to dye it black. And it's really funny because for a second I was like, well, where is the spot? I can't find the spot anywhere. And then I just kind of came to the conclusion, hey, there's not a spot there. So I'm just going to have to get creative. And that's what I did. So I just marked it in. You can see it right there. And I think it still looks fine. Like you can't really tell that I messed up there or anything like that. That's kind of the nice thing about these 3D wood pieces. They're very forgiving, I think. And, you know, they're meant to be easy. They're not meant to be super hard or anything like that. But they can definitely be challenging. I honestly picked this one out to do because of the little bird, because I thought it'd be cute to make it a little cardinal. And even though there's not anything else that's red in the picture, I feel like the little bird really pops out. My other ideas for the bird were that it could have been either blue or yellow because those were colors I was using in my color palette. But I decided to just kind of go off the rails and use that red because I think it looked the best. And I'm really happy with that decision. And then I got our little paint can ready there. It was kind of interesting. Like the wood apparently was really dry because I feel like with that blue both on the hat and on the bucket, it was just absorbing the paint. In fact, you can kind of see a little bit on the hat that it's starting to turn into a yellowish blue, and that is because of the wood just eating the paint. And I could have went back into it and painted over it with a few more layers. But honestly, I was kind of okay with that homey touch to it. It didn't really bother me that much, but it's certainly something that I could do in the future if I wanted those colors to be a little bit more bold. The other thing that I decided to do is I used 2 different types of yellows for the sunflowers. I didn't want the flowers to be the same as the bowl, which were daisies, so I made them into little sunflowers, and I think that that worked out pretty good with the different petal colors, and it looked really cute when it was done. So definitely happy with that. And then just like with the other one, I just made sure to paint the base of it, which I decided to paint it to look like grass. And then I put glue on both sides of the wood and popped her down, and that was it. If you stayed with me this long, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And if you're a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. If you're new here, hi, welcome. You're always welcome to come here. And if you could just like, subscribe, or share this video, I'd really appreciate it. Also, let me know in the comments, what did you think about putting together these wood kits? I know it was something different. I do have one wood kit left, and it's that frog one, so let me know if you would want me to film putting that together. And I would really appreciate you. So until I see you again, bye!